This is something I really need to talk about because I really just need to talk about it to get like out there so I can somewhat make myself feel better because this is something that has really upset me. I think it's upset a lot of people. And that is, of course, if you follow the NFL and if you're a Vikings fan, you'll know that Kirk Cousins just got injured with a torn Achilles at the end of the Vikings-Packers game yesterday on October 29th. Vikings played the Packers, beat them 24 to whatever the Packers score was, like 10 or something, and it was good. But about 5 minutes left in the game, 6 minutes, Kirk Cousins tore his Achilles and was hopped off the field and was taken to get examined and did not return for the end of the game, which was depressing. I think these past few games, actually, Kirk Cousins has played some of his best games, if I'm being honest. And it really is just sad for me. I mean, I think it's sad for a lot of Vikings fans. I know there's a lot of Vikings fans out there alone that hate Kirk Cousins. They think he's a bad QB. I think he's got really good stats. Now, by no means am I a really knowledgeable in football. Like, I don't know like every stat out there. And I'm not gonna sit here and say he's like the best QB because obviously there are QBs that are better than him, but he's definitely one of the better ones in the league right now. And I feel like that's more than just my opinion. I think a lot of people would agree with that, and I think he's got a lot of stats to prove that. Now, after it was said he tore his Achilles, everyone started just doubting the Vikings. The Vikings have managed to start coming back. We were 0-4, and then we started winning. Well, actually, we were 0-3, won our fourth game, and then lost to the Chiefs. And since then, we've been on the road to winning more games. And a lot of people have just decided to throw in the towel and say that without Kirk, our season's over with. And I really just want to talk about this from I guess, an optimistic perspective. And that is, I don't think the season's over. My biggest fear, actually, is not how the rest of the season plays out. It's if the Vikings keep Cousins. I feel like, in my opinion, and you can disagree with me on this if you want, I feel like Cousins is the best option for Minnesota. Like, I feel like they need to keep him. I'm going to be really bummed out if they decide to get rid of him after the season. I really feel like that's just going to be a dumb move on Minnesota's part if they do that. You know, because I don't really know if there's any QBs that we could trade for that are gonna, are gonna lead us to a winning season, that are gonna leave their teams. Like, obviously, we've got Tua on the Dolphins, you've got Mahomes on the Chiefs, you've got a bunch of other QBs that are pretty good. I mean, Mahomes and Tua, I think, are insanely good, but like you've got quarterbacks that are decently good, like that obviously aren't going to leave their teams to come play for the Vikings. So my biggest fear is them getting rid of Cousins after the season. Now, obviously, he's out for the rest of the season, which is a bummer. It is. Now, we have Hall coming in as a second teamer, and honestly, I think a lot of people started just throwing in the towel when they saw him play. Now, he only played in the last, out of the last 5 minutes of the game, he probably played only in 2.5 minutes because we were on defense for a good chunk of those last 5 minutes. And people were just starting to say he was garbage. And I'll admit, yeah, he didn't play the best. He didn't play, but I mean, that's his NFL debut right there. I think people need to remain a little optimistic with that because it could be like a whole Brock Purdy type of thing again, where like last season, you have the 49ers QB at the time, because Brock Purdy was a fourth string, and in one game, all three of the current quarterbacks on the 49ers were injured, and Brock Purdy came in, and then he led the 49ers to a winning season. And that could happen with Hall as the Vikings secondary. And I would honestly, I kind of want to see him play. One thing I noticed watching him play during those few minutes he was in was he's got something that I think Kirk Cousins doesn't have, and that is the ability to be agile. One thing I noticed with Kirk is when he gets running, he can run, but he's not somebody who's going to cut and, juke people out. He doesn't do that. Kirk Cousins doesn't do that. I did notice that with a play by Hall that he was able to escape the backfield and kind of get away from some defenders. And I honestly am hoping to see him play on this Sunday. I really believe that he could be good. Now, honestly, I'm not a football analyst. Like, I'm not going to sit here and read off all the stats and, say that he's going to be the best decision, because he may not. The Vikings may end up losing the rest of the season, and that's going to be a bummer. But I really want to speak optimistically here and say I think Hall could do really well. I hope we get to see him play, because I saw a little bit of that agility that he had when he was in and thought, that's something that a good QB does need, a little bit of, be agile a little bit. And I really, really hope that I can see that on Sunday, this coming Sunday, with the game against the Falcons. So it is something that I'm eager to see. I'm not going to sit here and count the Vikings out. A lot of people started to count them out the minute Kirk Cousins was walked off the field. And I really don't want to sit here and go into that like downward spiral and go, oh, the season's over. Because aside from Cousins, we have Osborne, Jefferson. Jefferson, I'm pretty sure, is coming back in after the Falcons game. I think he's got one more game out because he pulled his hamstring a few games ago, and he was supposed to be up for 4 games. So I think this coming game with the Falcons, is the last game he's out. But we also have Addison, and we have Madison at running back. We've got Hawkinson at tight end. And I think these are guys that can get the game, get it going. I think they can win. I think if Hall does play, it's just going to be a matter of Hall getting set to his own tempo and working things out with his receivers and obviously the running back. Now that right there makes me sound like a fucking I'm like on the ESPN talking about it. And who knows, maybe you'll find me on there one day. But no, I really just want us to be optimistic here and say that you don't know. He could win. He could win. He could take the Vikings to the Super Bowl. We don't know. I mean, who knows? Maybe someone does know. Maybe someone like who's a major football analysis is gonna sit there and just be like, "Oh, well, yeah, he sucks." But I'm gonna hold out hope. I'm gonna hold out hope because I think I think they can do it. I think they can end them, even if they don't go to the Super Bowl, which is very likely. That's not even me being a downer. That's just being a lifelong Vikings fan. You know, even if they don't go to the Super Bowl, if they just end with a winning record, by all means, even if that winning record is by 1 game, like if they win 9 and lose 8. That I'm content with that. I'm just really eager to see what Hall does and see how he performs if they play him against the Falcons, because they might pick up some other QB that's currently out for trade right now. I've seen some rumors about that. I saw a list of like 12 potential QBs that could replace Cousins, and I'm eager to see what they do, but I really do want to see Hall play. Now, the thing about this injury is this is the same injury Aaron Rodgers got on his first drive as the Jets QB back in week 1. He played for 4 plays and then tore his Achilles because he stepped weird, and that's exactly what happened to Kirk Cousins. And Rodgers had the surgery. And one thing I saw is Rodgers actually posted on his Instagram on Sunday that he was actually out on the field, on the Jets field, throwing balls. And I think that's he has a speedy recovery. And that's something I can hope for Cousins. Now, obviously, Rodgers is not going to be, most likely not going to be in for the remainder of the season. I mean, he tore his Achilles in week 1, had his surgery the following week or so. Now, he's not going to be in, but the show that he's only a few weeks later, he's actually up and moving is something that I hope we can see with Cousins. Now, obviously, Rodgers tore his in week 1, and it's we're going into week 9 now, and he's up and walking around. So, Cousins tearing his as late in the season as it is, makes me feel a little bit better, because that means we're not going to be that many games without our starting QB as the Jets were. Now, the Jets obviously have done a great job. Their season's going pretty well, I'd say so. So their secondary QB is doing really well. So it's something I hope we can see from Minnesota with Hall, is having a secondary QB that can do really well. Maybe not win every game we have coming up, but win a few. And that Cousins does kind of follow the Rodgers path and has a speedy recovery. And hopefully the Vikings do not get rid of him in the offseason. I feel like that would be just a really dumb mistake. I don't know. Maybe there's a QB coming in that'll be a rookie next year that's going to be absolutely amazing. I don't know. Maybe you guys do, but I don't keep up with all of that news. I don't know what QB is going to be going into the NFL, and who's going to draft. I don't know that far ahead. So if you have an idea, let me know in the comments, because I'd love to read about them. But I'm not much of a football stats analysis type, analyst or whatever. I'm trying to say I need to be using the word analyst. I've been saying analysis. An analyst is what I'm looking for. So I just want to speak with a little bit of optimism here and say that I don't want to say the Viking season's over. And me talking about this in this video is just kind of me vocalizing it so I can just believe it a little bit more, because I'll be honest, I was more so upset because Kirk Cousins is starting to play some of the best ball he's played these past few games. Beating the 49ers and then beating the Packers and beating the Panthers and beating the Bears, and he's been playing some really good ball, and I'm so sad. I guess I'm being more empathy, because he doesn't deserve to go out like that. I don't think any QB deserves to go out like that. I would feel the same bit of frustration with Mahomes on the Chiefs, with any other QB, because they're playing, especially if they're playing good ball and they get injured like that. I think that's really shitty, and I empathize with that. I empathize with any athlete. I would say to be playing good ball and to get injured and be out for the rest of the season. So I empathize with that, and I really hope that Cousins has a speedy recovery. and I really hope the Vikings can pull off a winning season, and maybe Hall can lead them to the Super Bowl. But that's just me talking about this event because I really just need to vocalize it so I can hear the optimism, so I can feel a little bit better. But no, I really am excited to see if they play Hall or if they pick somebody else up to play the start QB. I'm eager to see what they do. But regardless, I'll be watching the game on Sunday, and I may do a follow-up video after the game on Sunday to talk about if I was right, if Hall is really good, or if they, to talk about what I saw. Hall being really good, they pick up somebody else, whatever. But guys, hopefully you all enjoyed. I'll see you later in a brand new video. Have a good day, and as always, stay awesome, everybody.